Well, I'm going to leave the opening until tomorrow morning. We have a number of horses racing tonight, and I want to gather my thoughts. You know, it's been a really tough 10 days for me, and I'm just starting to get back in the swing of things. And most certainly the way that the babies trained today helped. So I'm going to do the opening tomorrow. I'm going to do a top 10 list probably with Amy today, and do some racing tonight. But I want to talk about the 2-year-olds. I was going to do a video with Amy about the 2-year-olds, but I want to talk about where I see them, where they're at, where they need to be, how we're going to get them there, what that timeline looks like. We're going to start with ACDC, which is timely because made a break today, then won a mile in 2:30. This is a horse that on our open house day back before Christmas, this horse beat everybody and looked very good. Now, obviously that was really early, and are the other horses catching up? Is, you know, I don't know the best way to talk about that. I can tell you right now that ACDC is sound. He's not on the line anymore. He's doing his work well. He's put on a really good amount of weight. I've been happy with what I've seen from him, but I haven't sat behind him in the last few weeks, and I think Wednesday, Saturday of next week, I'll be going with ACDC. I can't even remotely extrapolate and say this is where I see him being and this is how I want to get him there. I don't think I can do any of that in this video, and it wouldn't be fair to the horse, you, or myself for me to do that. All I can tell you is ACDC is a step behind, and he's in a big group of horses. Not a gigantic group, but I would say there's 7 or 8 horses that are just a little bit off the beaten path, and we got to get them back on that path. My job over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks will be to do that very thing. So ACDC is in that group. He is sound. He's not on line. He's doing his work well. So great foundation to start with for here. I just watched Amy send me a message. So one of our employees, I wanted to send Hanger 1 home. I noticed he tucked up a little bit. Carla said he's been eating well, but he does look to me like he's about 20-30 pounds lighter than I'd like to see him. And rather than run him today, I'm thinking to myself, maybe the galloping is a little harder on him than I predicted it would be. And if so, what can we do to mitigate that? Well, don't run him today. Take the edge off. Get him out to a field where there's lots of grass starting to grow here in Ohio. And Carla was there, and she goes, well, can he come to my farm? We had horses turned out at Carla's last year. She takes care of Hanger 1. So absolutely. I'll tell you what, we're not going anywhere in my truck and trailer this weekend. You leave your car here, take my truck and trailer and Hanger 1, and have a great weekend. And that's exactly what Carla's doing this weekend. So Amy had sent me a message. They had to get the trailer on the truck, and she wanted to make sure that it was done right. So I gave her a step-by-step snuff how to do it, and she wasn't very happy with my... She thought that I was being sarcastic. Maybe it was a little bit. So ACDC will be fine. Ansar is awesome and has looked great, looked very good. Blue Rare got beat today, but I think it was the fact that maybe Eric got over the half good, but when Tomboy Strong came with a big rush, we were marching really good around the last turn, and I had told everybody before the sets, in the last turn, take a look around and see where the other horses are. I don't want everybody sprinting off on one another. We already know they can. I want everybody backed up and finishing together for the most part today. Now, I let a couple of horses dance along, and so did Jason, but for the most part, everybody finished. And Tomboy Strong had the momentum and beat her. And Eric said, I could have, turned her loose halfway down the lane, but what would be the point? And I'm glad he didn't. A lot of the virus going around right now, and important tonight. I want to go back to the barn, check a number of temperatures, see if anybody's spiking, see if anybody hasn't eaten their supper. Actually, as good as they trained today, it wasn't even the most important part of today. The most important part of today will be later on when we see who is eating, who is not eating, who has the temperature, who doesn't have a temperature. I would love to report that all food is gone at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and that no one has a temperature, but that would be unrealistic of me to think that. So Blue Rare was good, but defeated today. Capistrano Nights was good, made a break at the wire. You just have to know this filly. You cannot turn her loose in that manner, right? You just can't. Eventually you'll be able to. You just can't right now. She gets a little fractious, right? She just gets nervous and all bound up, and she'll make a break. But what you need to do is just keep the bit in her mouth and let her advance. And once she gets up into 5th gear, then you can let her rock. But you kind of have to help her get there. Captain Doolittle was good today. I was happy with him. That was mile 27. He was good. Really happy with Captain Doolittle. Cherry's Girl was good today. I think a little underutilized today. Eric was just being a little careful with her. I don't think he's gone with her in a while. And I trained her kind of hard on Wednesday, but her quarter crack did bleed on Wednesday, and we didn't want it bleeding today. So I guess in hindsight, I'm happy that he did that. When it first happened, I'm like, geez, I wish he'd have really moved this filly. But coming off the track and looking at her, no blood in that quarter crack, I guess that was maybe the right thing to do. Degas was good, happy with the way she went. She went a mile and 27 also, really happy with her. Diosa de la Danza has been really putting it on everybody the last 3 weeks. And I don't know whether she's coming down with a little something today. Now, Perfect Thought had a temperature 2 days ago, didn't eat all of her food up on Tuesday in the morning and picked away at nighttime, but has got over it and clearly was on all cylinders today. Diosa de la Danza looks to me that's the first one, or one of the first ones I'll be taking the temperature of tonight. Don't Ask Again, good. I think she's just going to be even Steven until she gets to the races, and I hope that when she gets to the races, she comes alive. She's got the gait, she's got the power, she's got the spark. She just needs to put it together and focus. And she's a baby, right? Some of them are a little stubborn. I'm not saying that it's the fillies. I'm not getting into a gender conversation or having somebody say, what are you saying? I'm just saying, a little stubborn. But she's coming. She's coming. Dune has been good. Now, I didn't get an update from... I guess I should have called Dominic before I did this video. Didn't get an update, but they have been going good, and I suspect Dune went good again today. Emerald Tom made a break today. He said he got doubled up. I try to tell all our trainers, well, one, he maybe needs a martingale. If he gets doubled up and he threw his head, okay, just put a little martingale on him for a while. But you can't roll up in behind them and grab them. Roll up in behind them and just set the bit in their mouth and just let them, as I said, I always say, let them roll up on their helmet or their shoulder. Just let them come right up on top of them and settle. You can't grab them quick because they'll throw their head. They're not used to that, first off. Secondly, they'll throw their head and there's nowhere for you to let them trot. You're right in behind somebody. So what happens is they'll throw their head, you still have a hold of them, they're still in that motion, and you lose them. It's just simple balance. So it's just a matter of understanding what you have to do in that situation with a young horse. Go Strong Hanover has been great. It was great again today. It's pretty steady. I think I ticked him. If they had a judge's review, I would have been set back in that training set. When I came roaring through the middle with My Name is Swaney, I ticked him when I got through there, and you would never know it. Go Strong Hanover didn't bother him a bit. He's a nice colt. Had to know, lost a shoe, made a break today. I said the shoe being lost a mistake. Was it a chicken and the egg type thing? He's not really ready to go in 26, 27, 28 yet. He's still should be hanging out around 35. This is a gigantic animal. I think that played a role. There's a lot of things that went into that break today. And I can easily put the hobbles on him and make him do his work. I just want to keep an eye on him the next 3 weeks. I know we've had 3 Marseilles. The first 2 had knees that bothered them. This guy is a gigantic animal. Maybe just let him hang out around 30 for a while, 30, 35. Hanger 1, as I just told you, was going out to the field, have some grass for the weekend and relax. It's pretty obvious to me. He loves to run, and he was running really, really hard the last 2 weeks. I wasn't asking him to at all. You know how fractious he can be, but I noticed he started to tuck up a little bit. Carla said his appetite's great, he eats good. Well, if he's eating good and he's losing a little bit of weight in March, obviously I'm working him too hard. So just give him the weekend off. I don't know, he just went on the walker this morning at the track and out to the farm for the weekend to eat some grass. He's a Fearless Peter, trained good. He's been training good. That was a lot today. That was a good bunch of horses, and he was right there. I thought he looked very, very good. Highest Honors was great again. She was dethroned for a week, right? And in my top 10 list now, Amy's not here, so I'll say it. There's no debating how good Perfect Thought was today. Mile and 19, I started her up right into 5th gear twice in the mile. The second time, I dusted everybody and drove away with the bit in her mouth. She's back, and she looked very, very good. She wasn't gone very long, and Perfect Thought was awesome today. So Highest Honors was right beside her in the last turn. He come roaring up alongside me, and I said, hey, we're going lots, just sit there in this turn, let everybody else catch up, let Millie Girl catch up, let all of them catch up. And then we got to head a lane, and zoom again. And Highest Honors was very, very good also. In New York, he's going to be a project horse. I know a lot of my partners are like, oh my God, just relax. He wants to do his work. I like the little horse. He wants to go forward. He wants to do it better. Somebody said, well, maybe he needs a bigger track. The straightaways is where he's struggling a little bit, right? So we changed his shoes around a little bit. He was rocky again today. maybe we'll just continue to work on him over the next 2-3 weeks until he gets it right. Right? I think he will. But we'll see. He's another one of those horses, just a little bit off the beaten path right now. They just have to work on the fundamentals over the next little bit, and that's what we're going to do with him. Jailbird Jog was great. You just simply can't ask her in that situation. And it's just one of those things as a driver, or in this case a trainer, the horse makes a break, and you're like, oh, I knew better. I shouldn't have done that. And that's just growth, right? And when it comes to Jailbird Jog, you can't ask her as she's transitioning into the straightaway. She'll come out of the turn, into the backstretch, she's made like 8 breaks right there. That transition is a problem. You need to help her with that. So when they come out of the turn, she wants to go forward. Grab a hold of her and just coddle her a little bit, throttle her back a little bit, and then you'll feel her, boom, settle in, and you can take off. But if you try to jump steps with her there, she's going to make a break, and she did. Joe J. Fotag, a little sick today. 102.8, I believe, was the temperature. She was fine. Our temperature came right down quite quickly with Butte. It was 99.8 when we left, so I suspect she'll eat everything up. I'll keep an eye on her temperature tonight also and tomorrow. But it's been going through the barn, and it's not just the babies, the race horses also. I see a lot of the horses that raced a little flat, and I'm like, well, you draw their blood, and there wasn't a ton wrong with them. But I'm sitting behind them, and I can tell you they weren't right. Jolene Hall was good today. Judy's Money, both these fillies. I kind of talk about them at the same time. They're both by Ready for Money. They don't. One wears hobbles, one doesn't. Both of them are a little goofy sometimes, but when push comes to shove and they're in gear, they do their work well. Judy's Money was a winner in her set today, and Jolene Hall trotted very good also. Leland Hanover is good. Got to get the flip-flops off him. I got to make a note. There's 3 horses I want the flip-flops off on Monday. This guy is near the top of the list. Lifting Legend, training in Ontario. Again, they were in 32 last week, so they'll probably go back in 30 again this week. If I know James, maybe 35, knowing him. I'm going to say around 30-ish, but they've all been pretty good. Love Sensation was great today. I just ran her down at the wire, and she looked great, has looked great, and continues to trot really, really well in Ontario, or in Ohio, sorry. I get texts coming in, I get dogs out there playing, I get kids running around. I'm distracted. I need to put a bridle on. Megan's lucky day. I think she was under the weather today. She felt really lethargic to me, and never does. The one thing I liked about her, and I said this in the other video, did her work well. That's most important. To go out and get it done and do your work well was important, and she certainly did that today. Finished up strong, through the mire after him was great. Millie Girl has been, her and Diosa Della Danza were trading punches over the last 2 weeks. Who was, the best pacer? Perfect Thought was off the board the last 4 times she trained, was a little flat, right? And I wanted to go with her today. She was so good that we kind of put her in neutral and let her kind of get a little docile. And Joey went with her, and Amy went with her, and Jason went with her, and she just quiet and a little bit sick. And I said, all right, that's enough. Time to start the fire back up again on the filly. And I hadn't sat behind her since probably January. I moved her twice hard today, and she definitely is back. She looked very, very, very good today. And Millie Girl was right there just beside them, finishing up. Perfect Thought paced away from them. Everybody else, there was like a wall, 3 of them right across the track. And Millie was one of them. My Name is Sweeney was great. You down into a different class, not up with the Pacers again. And then I let Jason down in front of me as I knew Blue Rare was on the front. I said, if you continue, there's another horse that trot and colt. He was a little sick last week. I said, if you continue first over, Eric's going to leave you out there. I know, because Blue Rare's trotting along nice and you're not coming 100. Just get in the 2-hole. So I opened the hole up. He got in the 2-hole, and everybody started to advance. Well, he makes a break getting into the last turn, and I got to weave through with Wayne. And as we come out of the turn, she kind of shot through, and I actually clipped Go Strong Hanover when I was getting through. But he never put a step in, and she was very, very strong finishing up her mile. I was impressed by that filly today. I really like the horses that go out and do an honest and put in an honest effort. And that filly there, if she had kind of just knifed through and got up, she would have been fine. But she was attacking at the wire, and I love when I see that from the babies. And Wayne definitely was doing that today. Where are we at here? Weenie Neuromancer was good at the hobbles, maybe a hole or two too tight, but he was trotting great. Sound, feeling good. That's what I want to see from Neuromancer. Really happy with him today. Perfection Hanover is a little bit behind. Another horse off the beaten path. Had him in with the trotters the other day and he pounded them. He looked great. Put him in with our best pacers today, and when we really dropped the hammer coming out of the turn, he did back up just a little bit. Jason said he did everything right. He just felt that, I said, I just need to know, does he feel tired and kind of worn out, or does he feel a tiny bit short, like he's catching up? He said, I would say the latter. I think he's catching up. I don't go with him a lot, he said, but you could tell he wanted to go with them, and he was sharp in the post-braid, which he hasn't been. Post-braid, you know what I'm talking about, in the warm-up. He hasn't been for the last little while. Amy said he was great on Wednesday. That was a tall order on Saturday. So my initial thought was just turn him out in the field for 3 weeks and leave him alone. But Jason said he just thought that, he didn't have the tools quite in the toolbox yet to do what we were asking him to do today. That's fine. We'll drop him back down in class, so to speak, next week and see how he feels. Perfect Thought. I can't say it. She spoke for herself today. Perfect Thought. It's, she got, I had Blue Rare on the top of the list last week. This was who I thought was the best horse in the barn. Perfect Thought had faltered a little bit over the last 2 weeks of training, so I wanted to go with her today. Well, I love Blue Rare. I didn't go with her today, but I love Blue Rare, and I know how good she is. Perfect Thought regained her crown, I think, today. Now, obviously, this video, Amy won't get to see it, but it was pretty evident to everybody today at the track who the best horse in our barn was. And, oh my God, Doyle just showed up all the horses Amy was going to leave. She's not happy with me right now. I'm sitting in the driveway of our house. She's still at the barn, and it's 3 o'clock. Pretty Eyes and Lies, high temperature today. She was scratched. It won't do her any harm anyway. Rico Tubbs was good. About a week behind, but he was sick last week. About a week behind everybody else. Riding the Rodeo has been training good again. I'm sorry, I don't have the update from Dominic, but they've been training very, very good. Rose Run Bobby was awesome. Awesome today. Dispatched everybody. First over, attacking and driving off winner. She looked very, very good. Royal Duchess continues to get closer to the lead, and continues to do it perfect every week. I love this filly. She is always under the radar. No one knows her name. That's at the track. Nobody talks about her. We don't we don't go on about Royal Duchess. She's just a meat and potatoes, okay horse that we never talk about. And every week she gets a little bit better. And she was awesome again today. So I'm very interested to see what Royal Duchess looks like in June. Royal Flush Deal was good. You guys saw broken hobbles. The first set, the strapping tore on the strap. It wasn't the hobbles. It was the hardware that goes with them. The stitches let go on one of them. Tyler went back in and got another set of hobbles, but he had them on too tight when he came back out, and he went to try and switch them, and the strap came off the jog cart. And I said, we're not waiting for you. Go your own mile. We left. And then Jason made a break and said, you go with Tyler. And then I signaled the cameraman. Steve's got a good set of eyes on him. I was a quarter of a mile away, and I was pointing to the two horses that were about to train. And by the time I got around to the other side, he was following them. So great job by Steve in the video, Steve Ulrich in the video booth to pick that up. Royal Flush Deal looked good today, a mile in 2:30. Simply Chaotic has been great. I expect he's still being great. Solidarity, somebody messaged me and said, why is he not on the list? Because he's not in this country. He's been over there for 2.5 weeks. I can report this. He's not made a break one time north of the border. So we're making headway for sure. Steady Volo, I've seen him better than he was today. He looked a little rickety in the turns. Are those knees bothering him a little bit? Does he need the flip-flops off? Something going on with him? Is he still a little sick? I don't know. We're going to answer all of those questions over the next 48 hours. Steph's Hope was good. Her knees do bother her. Yeah, she reminds me so much of Sweet on Pete. It's unbelievable. Sweet on Pete struggled to get to the track. Her knees bothered her, and it was constant management. Manage all year long with this filly, and Steph's Hope reminds me of her. They're not acutely sore, but they do bother her, and they do need managed. And I'll tell you what, she hobbles on. She was all business today doing her work. The filly was awesome. Sterling Hanover is in Ontario also. I want to talk to James right now about Sterling Hanover and how he trained today. Very eager to hear about this horse. Supermind made a break today. Very rare. Jason couldn't really put his finger on it. He said the horse is sound. He's not on line. Did he just lose himself in the deeper stuff along the road? Maybe, I suppose. He said, I can't really tell you why he run. But he never does usually run, so I'll give him a mulligan today. Sweet Lake was awesome. Really, really good today. That was a big mile and a big last quarter, and she was trying her hardest to catch Perfect Thought, but it's easier said than done. Perfect Thought is a very, very good filly, and so is Sweet Lake. But when you have a length and a half head jump on them, and she's every bit as good as you, it's almost impossible to make up that length and a half. She just couldn't. Sweet Lake was great today. Tomboy Strong looked awesome. First over, attacking, driving off. She just looked extremely good. Really, really happy. Tomboy Strong. Uncle Danny, keep your eyes on Uncle Danny the next little while. With the hobbles on, he is going to turn into an absolute monster, and he was very, very good today. Just absolutely crushed them. I was right there with Neuromancer, but we could have went around three more times, and I'm not sure I would have got any closer. He was very, very good. Woodmere Bullet's been around 227, 228 right now, I think, with Smitty. He told me 232 the other day, and he loved the way he trained. We'll bring you guys a video again at some point in the near future. And Zena Kemp, really good. Happy to hear she wasn't hikey, she wasn't out of gear, she wasn't rough. Amy said, I was just really careful with her. Maybe I should have moved her. I said, no, you did the exact right thing. There's no rush. I just wanted her to stay at it and do her work. She said, no, she was very good. So those are your 2-year-olds. Only 2 things left. The opening we're going to do tomorrow. Amy and I usually do that on Sunday mornings. And I want to do a top 10 list. Dueling top 10 list for you guys this week between Amy and I. We'll get to that later on today, but for right now, you're mostly all caught up. Take care.